Okay, let's jump right into this deep dive. We're looking at a really fundamental idea about influence. Basically, how winning a verbal argument, it's often the fastest way to lose in the long run. The source material puts it bluntly. Win through your actions, never through argument.
Right.
That little victory you feel, it can be totally pyrrhic, costing you way more because you stir up all this ill will.
Exactly. And that bad feeling lasts a lot longer than any agreement you forced. It's not just about avoiding conflict. It's really about understanding the emotional fallout of proving someone wrong with words.
So the alternative is
Demonstration. Getting agreement by showing, not telling. Without saying a word, ideally. Words can be twisted, right? People distrust them. But an action, well, that feels like solid proof. It's harder to deny.
okay, so showing, not telling. But what happens when someone, ignores this, gets caught up in being right? There's this story, a kind of cautionary tale, about a military engineer in Athens, way back, 131 BC.
Ah, yes. The consul, Mucianus, he ordered this huge ship's mast for a battering ram.
Right, the biggest one available.
But the engineer, he knew technically, scientifically, that a smaller mast would be better. More speed, more force on impact.
He was correct, objectively.
Objectively, yes. But his mistake, his fatal error, wasn't the science. It was that he argued. And argued.
Not just with the soldiers, but with Mucianus himself, the boss.
Constantly explaining why the consul's idea was wrong. Which, basically tells your superior he's not smart enough. In public.
Ouch. Yeah, that challenges their dignity, their authority.
Totally. And Mucianus was infuriated, so he ordered the engineer. Well, it was brutal. Flogged and scourged until he died.
Wow. Okay, so the lesson isn't just don't argue with the boss.
Well, not quite. It's deeper.
Oh.
It shows how reason, logic, science, it all just bounces off if the other person feels defensive or insecure. Their ego gets in the way.
So you have to work around the ego, not crash into it.
Exactly. Which brings us to the contrast. Success through subtle demonstration. Think Michelangelo.
Ugh. The David statue.
Right.
Right. 1502. He finishes this masterpiece, this colossal statue, and the patron, Mayor Soderini, takes one look and says,
The nose. It's too big.
right. And you can't just tell the mayor of Florence he's wrong about art.
Definitely not.
Yeah.
So what did Michelangelo do? No arguing. He just motioned Soderini to come closer, follow him up the scaffolding,
Okay.
and grabs his chisel. But crucially, he also grabs a handful of marble dust he'd hidden in his hand beforehand. Smart.
Oh, I see where this is going.
Yeah, he gets up there, makes a show of tapping lightly near the nose with the chisel.
While letting the dust fall.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Letting the dust shower down as if he's carving. He didn't actually touch the nose. Changed absolutely nothing.
But Soderini sees the dust, feels like something's happening.
And his perspective, quite literally, changes because he's closer. He looks up and declares, much better. You've brought it to life.
Amazing. No offense, statue saved, all through a bit of clever stagecraft. A demonstration, not an argument.
Precisely. It altered the spectator's reality.
That's handling a patron. What about, public fears or official anxieties?
Same principle applies. Look at Sir Christopher Wren, the famous architect.
Okay.
Westminster Town Hall, 1688. The mayor and council were worried the second floor wasn't structurally sound. They demanded extra columns for support.
Even though Wren knew they weren't needed, his design was solid.
Correct. He knew they were redundant.
Mm-hmm.
But did he argue? No, he just built them.
Appeased the mayor, kept the peace.
Exactly. But here's the kicker. Years later, during some renovations, workmen discovered those columns. They stopped short of the ceiling.
No way, they were dummies.
Total dummies. Purely visual reassurance. Wren proved his point silently, letting the structure itself be the evidence over time, without ever needing a confrontation.
That's brilliant. Okay, so demonstration is almost always the way. But you mentioned an exception earlier. When is argument actually useful?
Yes. There is one specific time when verbal argument is actually the recommended strategy.
Which is?
When you're using deception. If you're caught in a lie, or maybe running a con, arguing can be a fantastic smokescreen.
A distraction tactic.
Exactly. Like with Count Victor Lustig, the famous con man.
The guy who sold the Eiffel Tower?
That's the one. Well, another time, a Sheriff Richards tracked him down, gun drawn, about a phony money-copying machine Lustig had sold him.
Okay. Dangerous situation.
Very. Lustig didn't try to prove the box worked. Instead, he launched into this incredibly confusing, technical-sounding argument about how it operated.
Filled with jargon.
Right. He sounded passionate, maybe a little desperate, totally certain. It threw the sheriff off balance, confused him, made him lower the gun just a bit.
Bought himself some time and lowered the tension.
Mm-hmm. And in that moment of confusion, Lustig wasn't trying to win the argument logically.
Yeah.
He used it as cover for his real move, handing the sheriff a wad of counterfeit cash as a refund.
Which later got the sheriff arrested for passing fake money.
Exactly. The argument was just misdirection for the action that actually neutralized the threat.
Okay, that makes sense. So, wrapping this up, what's the big takeaway for, for you listening? It seems really clear. Actions speak louder. Demonstration has weight. Words, well, they're cheap.
Yeah, a dime a dozen, as the source material says. Reminds me of Balthazar Gracian's quote, "The truth is generally seen, rarely heard." You perceive truth through observation more often than explanation.
Seen, rarely heard. I like that.
And maybe that leads to one final thought to chew on. Something provocative.
Go on.
It's about choosing your battles. If you know you're right, and you also know that time, or the other person's own experience, will eventually prove your point anyway.
Then maybe.
Maybe the most powerful move is to do nothing. Not even a demonstration. Just save your energy. Let reality do the arguing for you. Walk away.